If you're an engineer, you already know there's always that one class that people take that just weeds like half of the class out. It's crazy. And if you're a computer science major, you know this for sure. Programming 2, especially at UF, Programming 2 is lethal. That course slimes people out like Batman, Dark in Shadows. Programming 2 is what I like to say, let's see what happens when people who have never coded before have to really code. AKA, hey, you didn't code since you were a kid? Okay, let's see how bad you really want it. So for most schools, Programming 2 is just like object-oriented programming. But what I like to call it is a syntax nightmare, to be honest. And seg fault, memory fault haven. For all the non-computer science majors, and to be honest, for all the people about to take the class, let me just explain this to you in a way that anyone can understand. Someone comes to you and says, hey, listen, here's a different language that you've never seen before. And in 2 months, you're gonna have a test. And you're gonna have to write in that language on the test with no IDE, aka no help. Just a text box. You missed a bracket. Oh, that's -2 points. What's that? You forgot some parentheses? How am I supposed to know that's a class? 2 more points. And the reason I say syntax is because, dude, some of the stuff you're gonna see on those exams, man. Could you imagine a world where if a semicolon's here, it means one thing, if it's here, it means another thing? Imagine where, oh, if this variable is outside of this function, but in this function, the scope is here. But what happens if you call this function here? What happens if you call this function and pass a variable in there? What happens if you're not passing a variable, you're passing a pointer? What happens if you're passing, not a pointer, but a reference? What happens if you're passing both a pointer and a reference? What happens if you're passing a constant? What happens if you're not really passing a constant, you're passing a constant pointer? And what happens if when you're passing that constant pointer inside the function, you actually delete the pointer? Or matter of fact, you don't delete the pointer, just delete the memory address that the pointer is pointing to. Then what happens? Then you have to learn about dangling pointers. Then you have to learn about this, that. No, you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that. That's a lot of scenarios to remember. And of course, they love to dibble dabble some recursion, some linked list, just for fun. Now let me explain to you why these two different mindsets makes it hard for a person that's never coded before. It makes it easy for someone who has coded. For someone like me that's coded before, when I'm seeing this stuff, when I learned it, I didn't learn it as, let me learn all these topics because I have to. I learned it because, hey, my video game is lagging. And hey, these things that I'm passing, I actually need this to persist. How can I do this? Oh, there's a tool for my problem. I learned this stuff by self-search. It's why you can go to any of these Taylor Swift fans and they know every song. I couldn't remember every Taylor Swift song, but they know it because they wanted to know it. But if you don't code and you just look at some PowerPoint slides of constant pointer this, it's gonna be hard as heck. And don't even try to go to the professor to try and teach you some. He's not teaching you none, bro. And the last and final thing is the software setup. If you don't know, when you go to an internship, people will always say the hardest part of the internship is setting up the environment. Well, what's the one thing that you have to do in college that people really don't help you with? Setting up your environment. Imagine spending 2 whole days trying to debug an error, and guess what? You just had the wrong C++ version installed. Or matter of fact, the incorrect compiler didn't match. Or matter of fact, because you're using an M-series Mac and the M-series Mac chip doesn't work with the particular package that the teacher provided and you don't know the code enough to do it, you fail the project. Okay, that's really specific. Because that thing happened to me. Can you imagine? Now you're going ahead on Stack Overflow forums. You're trying to find a way to rewire your computer architecture, find some way to VM into a virtual machine to rerun the code a certain type of way. You just want to you just want to learn the course material. Or there's option B, buy a $500 Windows laptop. I know some of you say, Kai, just buy like $150 to buy an expensive one. And for how slow that computer was, imagine you spend 4 hours on a project and then you are forced to use that computer to video edit the video of that project, and the time it takes to video edit the project is longer than it took to do the project. And then you go to the TA and explain all this, and the TA comes to you and says, get a more expensive computer. I don't know what to do, bro. Look, I'm ranting. Actually, one more thing since we're here. Literally Programming 2 was such a detriment. I want you to understand something. I'm leading a software engineer, That class made me not want to code. If I didn't code before and I took Prog 2, I would have dropped the course. I would have dropped the course. So I say all that to say, imagine doing all that and you never coded before. That's my point.